intense rain wrapping around the tornado itself and concealing it at times. So we've got a very dangerous situation unfolding here as this tornado-producing supercell continues to move through Tarrant County in the direction of Dallas County.
All right, Dan, let's take a look at the DFW tower cam here, where a tornado warning is now in effect for Dallas County. You folks in Irving, Cockrell Hill, Capel, Carrollton, University Park, Highland Park, Addison, Balch Springs, Richardson should all be alert and be ready to take cover immediately. Actually, Dan, if you're under a tornado warning, you need to be taking shelter right now. And as we pointed out, the tornado may be rain-wrapped, which means that it could be very well embedded in the rain here. It's just very difficult to see, but we do have storm spotters, and Dennis is listening to the radios, and we'll get the latest information on for you.
All right, let's go back here to, if we can, to Fox 4 and Doppler radar, and I'll read the latest statement from the National Weather Service. At 6:20 p.m., storm spotters and Doppler radar observed a tornado. This tornado was located near Hearst, Richland Hills, and southern Haltom City, and was moving northeast at 30 miles per hour. In addition to the tornado, this storm has produced extremely large hail. We had reports of up to baseball-sized hail around Beach Street and Loop 820 right at the office of the National Weather Service. That was about 10 to 15 minutes ago. You need to take shelter immediately here. These black colors here are indicating the very large hail, up to baseball size, falling from this storm right now. And right here, let me stop this lapse here, at Bedford, Hearst, Euless, you are probably seeing the tornado come through your communities right now as we speak. A tornado warning in effect, very dangerous situation here, and it's moving northeast at 30 miles per hour, and probably in the next 5 to at most 10 minutes, it will be crossing the Tarrant County line and heading into Dallas County, more than likely just south of DFW Airport.
Okay, Dan, once again, the two major populated areas in North Texas, Tarrant County and Dallas counties, are presently under tornado warnings. Repeating, a tornado warning is in effect for northeastern Tarrant County until 6:45. And the new information we've received, Dan, a tornado warning is now in effect until 7:15 for Dallas County. People in Dallas County need to be taking shelter immediately.
All right, this is our DFW Airport tower cam. Now, if this tornado continues on its present course, it's probably going to pass along the southern end of DFW Airport. It's moving in a direction northeasterly at 30 miles per hour. It was located as of 6:20 p.m. near Hearst, Richland Hills, and southern Haltom City. Let's get back to Fox 4 and Doppler radar here, at least momentarily. I want to show the radar image as frequently as we can. I'll stop the image here. Here's the very large hail, up to baseball size, especially where you're seeing these black colors here. Colleyville, Bedford, just absolutely getting pounded right now with very large hail. And right down here from Bedford and Hearst to Euless, that is where we're seeing the potential tornado on the ground. These circles here indicating the very strong rotation being detected by Doppler radar. In fact, let me go ahead and I'll put in a live sweep there from Fox 4 and Doppler radar, and it appears like that circulation is moving eastward now in the direction of Euless. Ron, got some new information?
Some new information that has just been received from the ham radio operators. We are now reporting rotation just south of DFW Airport. So we are now getting confirmed reports from trained storm spotters of rotation just south of DFW Airport.
Boy, it's amazing how dark this shot is right now. I mean, it looks like the middle of the night right now.
Yeah, you're right.
Ron. This is, just to confirm, this is our DFW Airport tower cam. DFW Airport tower cam. This tornado, which was spotted in Tarrant County and continues to move through the mid-cities area, is heading in the direction of DFW Airport. We've had confirmation now, reports of rotation seen near DFW Airport. And boy, I mean, you can just a dramatic shot there as we pan off more towards the east. You can see a little break in the clouds there, but now as we pan back towards the west, you're looking in the direction of the airport runways there, and then off in the distance where the sky gets black as night, that is where the tornado is coming from, and it's been reported in Tarrant County, and it continues to move east-northeast at about 30 miles per hour. You need to take shelter immediately. Very dangerous situation
It's not unusual, too, Dan. This part of the country especially, you have a lot of rain-wrapped tornadoes, which simply mean tornadoes may be embedded in the rain here. You are just not seeing it. Now, we do have trained storm spotters and ham radio operators checking it out. Dan, in the Kennedale area, we do have reports of lowering with rotation, but some of that is being pulled back up, and still getting many reports of golf ball size hail.
And that camera there shot, Ron, was a perfect illustration of what we've been talking about here for the last several minutes, is that it's very likely that you're not going to see this coming because of the heavy rain that is wrapping around it. There's a look now at Fox 4 and Doppler radar, and these circles here indicating the strong circulation in association with this tornado, which was reported near Benbrook. We had a touchdown there, and more than likely we had a touchdown somewhere in the Mid-Cities area, or perhaps in Haltom City, and now it continues to move in an easterly direction. It's located here now just around the Euless area, and moving very shortly right across the southern end of DFW Airport. You folks in Irving here, you need to take shelter immediately as well. Lowest floor available away from exterior walls or windows. A tornado warning is in effect for Dallas County as well as Tarrant County.
And Dan, here's a look from our tower cam at Tarrant County. And you were absolutely right. You would almost think it was 9 or 10 o'clock at night. This is from DFW Airport. And as we've been pointing out, a tornado, if there is a tornado in there, it's probably rain-wrapped, Dan, but you just cannot see it because of the heavy rain in the area, and also because of the golf ball and sometimes baseball-size hail being reported. Once again, Dallas County presently under a tornado warning until 7:15, and Tarrant County under a tornado warning until 6:45. And here's some new information, Dan, that Dennis Barr's just given me, who's monitoring the ham radio operators. Grapevine now reporting 40-mile-per-hour winds and increasing golf ball-size hail in the Grapevine area.
All right, let's go back to Viper 4.
Thank you for plenty of tour.
All right, there's Fox 4 and Doppler radar. There's a tornado warning in effect for Tarrant County and for Dallas County. This is an extremely dangerous situation here. I'm going to go to Viper 4 now and do another one of what we call these micro tracks here. And anywhere essentially in this yellow outline box, you need to be very, very cautious. I've got the times popping up there as the tornado tracks to the east from roughly the Euless area, right across DFW Airport, Irving, Texas Stadium, and then eventually perhaps the Park Cities area could be in the path of this tornado as we head closer towards the 7 o'clock hour.
And Dan, go back to the radar where you see the dark area here, the black area here. That's where you're seeing the golf ball, the baseball size hail. Some new information that Donna, who's taken some of the phone calls, Dan just has reported and given me that Grapevine is now reporting baseball size hail with winds at about 60 miles per hour.
That's the large hail right up here, and obviously, you're seeing the hail core moving from the Colleyville and Bedford areas now. It's on the north side of Euless up towards Grapevine, right near DFW Airport. And anybody traveling on 114 west towards Grapevine and Southlake, this hail core is going to pass right across 114. And I just hope folks don't stop under the underpass there and hold up traffic behind them. That is not a good idea. There appears to be the tornadic circulation here, moving right across the southern end of DFW Airport and getting ready to move through Irving here momentarily. You need to take shelter immediately, anywhere from Euless to northwest Irving. In fact, anywhere in the Irving area for that matter. Up here to the north, what we've been seeing is very large hail from Colleyville, now shifting into the Grapevine area, and probably large hail falling near DFW Airport. And this is the airport tower cam, and we're more than likely looking through some torrential rain here. It's going to be nearly impossible for us to see the tornado here because of that heavy rain that we're looking through. And that's one of the inherent dangers here with a storm like this, is that you may not even see the tornado coming because of the sheets of rain that are actually wrapping around the tornado itself. You'll no doubt hear it, but you need to take shelter immediately. Don't wait until you hear the potential roar of this tornado. You need to go ahead and assume that you are in the path of it, and you need to take shelter in a closet or in a bathroom on the lowest floor available. If you're in a high-rise building, if you can get to the lowest floor, perhaps you have friends there, by all means do so. If there's an interior concrete stairwell that you can take shelter in, that's also a good location. And by all means, don't even think about hitting the roads right now anywhere around, let's say, Highway 114, DFW Airport, Valley Ranch, Irving, any of these areas here. It is simply just too dangerous to venture out on the roadways.
Okay, Dan, here's some new information I've received. Rotation is now entering Dallas County south of 183. We've had baseball-sized hail now reported at 121 in Harwood. And Arlington Amateur Radio reports thunderstorm winds in excess of 70 miles per hour on the Grand Prairie-Arlington border. And some new information, Dan, that just came across about 5 seconds ago. We have 1.5-inch hail presently being reported at DFW Airport. Dan, I believe we have
Dion Englund at Texas Stadium right now.
Dion, what do you have for us?
Hi there. We are just along 183 at Cistercian in Irving, and it's very, very dark here as of just the last 2 or 3 minutes. We're seeing lots of lightning, and the sky is really gotten darker within just, like I said, the last 2 or 3 minutes. So the rain is starting to fall, but the lightning is, I think, the most prominent thing I can point out. And if you can hear that, there's thunder right now that's just rolling nonstop. But also, we can just tell you that the traffic here is still moving along, but you can see the roads really thinning out here. So people are really taking heed to the warnings, it appears. So once again, very, very dark clouds here rolling in. The rain is starting to fall. No hail to mention. We're not seeing any hail where we are. Once again, right here along 183 at Cistercian.
Okay, do you have any, this is Ron Jackson, do you have any sirens going off in the area?
You know, I heard a very faint siren about 5-6 minutes ago. I really couldn't tell if it was here, definitely close to us, but it sounded like it was very faint, but it was a siren, perhaps from the city of Irving.
Thank you, Dion. Dan, you have some information for us?
Yeah, Dion, that storm is heading right in the direction of Texas Stadium. We just had a report here, the latest from our chat session, of 2.5-inch diameter hail at DFW Airport. That is just a 1/4 inch shy of being the same diameter as a baseball, so nearly baseball-sized hail falling at DFW Airport. We also had a report of baseball-sized hail at 121 and Harwood as well. And tornado warnings continue here for far eastern Tarrant County and into western Dallas County.
And here's some of the hail, Dan. I believe I saw some hail here at
you certainly are.
in MacArthur. Yep. Yeah, you bet. You can see it coming down here.
Certainly are. That's not quite as large as we've been seeing, but this is kind of on the far northern end of this storm here. But we are seeing some hail, as you can see. And look at the ponding on 183 there in MacArthur, as we've had some torrential rain with that hail as well.
Yeah, that hail will definitely do damage, Dan, even at that side. We want to tell everyone once again that officially, northeastern Tarrant County remains under a tornado warning for another 8 minutes until 6:45. And Dan, Dallas County, of major concern right now, obviously, remains under a tornado warning until 7:15. Now, Dan, we've had a lot of reports of tornadoes. We've had a lot of reports of hail. But in reality, we've had very little of any reports of any damage, just as of yet.
Yeah, and we'll hope that that holds. But you know, based on some of the reports we're getting of baseball-sized hail and confirmed reports of tornadoes on the ground, it wouldn't be surprised at all if we do have some reports of damage. If we can, let's go back to Fox 4 and Doppler radar here. I want to show you where the location of this storm is right now. That's our downtown Dallas tower cam. Here's Fox 4 and Doppler radar, and anywhere where you're seeing these purple colors here, that's the large hail. Currently as large as baseballs now falling from this storm out at DFW Airport. We also see a hail core up here around I-635, and this is going to be moving right across the Carrollton area. The tornadic circulation itself is more than likely down here to the south in the Irving and Grand Prairie areas here. So anywhere from Texas Stadium through Irving and Grand Prairie, you need to be on your guard, because this storm, if it's not producing a tornado now, may again at any moment, and it's moving east at 35 miles per hour in the direction of downtown Dallas and also the Park Cities up here to the north. So this is a very dangerous situation. We've had a storm that's had a history of producing at least one, possibly two tornado touchdowns, and it is moving in the direction of downtown Dallas.
Dan, we have had reports now of sirens going off in the Irving to Richardson area. Rotation is now being reported around Duncanville as well as the Lancaster region. Rotation around Duncanville and Lancaster. Dan, I believe we have John Gannett in Haltom City.
Yes, sir.
What do you have for us, John?
Well, I was driving on. I got off on 377. I was southbound from 820, and I saw what looked like a bunch of Easter eggs on the ground in front of a gas station, and I pulled over, and it was some small hail, golf ball to egg-sized hail. But the other thing that I can tell you is there's a report of power lines down just south of here, just south of 183, and the fire department is on the scene. The Fort Worth Fire Department's on the scene on Elliott Reeder Road. So they're blocking off the roads there until they can get those power lines, the charge taken off of them.
Okay, were the power lines that were, excuse me, John, Ron Jackson here, were the power lines brought down from the strong wind or from the large hail, or do you know?
I don't know. I'm on my way to that scene right now. I just heard that coming over the police scanner that the fire department was blocking off. I believe it's Elliott Reeder Road, just south of Airport Freeway. So
okay, Dan, once again, okay, appreciate it, John. Thank you very much.
Ron got some new information here as well. Reports of a roof off of a grocery store at 121 in Beach. I don't know how large of a grocery store that is, but reports of a roof off of a grocery store at 121 in Beach. We've also had some damage, including power lines down and some tree limbs down, road signs down at Loop 820 and Randall Mill, and a report of teacup-sized hail. That's 3 inches in diameter. That's bigger than baseball-sized hail in Colleyville, and that was about 7 minutes ago as the hail core came right through there. Let's get back to Fox 4 and Doppler radar here. Again, we're all under a tornado watch until midnight tonight. Tornado warnings continue for Dallas County. Here's the line of intense thunderstorm activity that stretches from just north of Tioga through Pilot Point down through Louisville. The highest threat with this part of the line is going to be large hail, perhaps up to golf ball-sized hail, and 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts. But as you get farther south on this line of storms, this is the part of the storm here that's had the history of producing the tornadic activity and also the reports of the very, very large hail. And you can see how this hook, this kind of appendage down here on the southwestern flank of the storm, extends south through Irving and Grand Prairie. Now, as I put the shear markers back on here, according to Doppler radar here, we're not seeing as strong a circulation as we were when this storm was moving through Tarrant County. But that's not unusual at all for these storms to kind of go through these fluctuations in intensity where they weaken and then strengthen again.
Okay, Dan, we're looking at a live tower cam from downtown Dallas. And there you go. There's some very intense lightning going on. These tornadoes, Dan, if there is a tornado in there, could very well be rain-wrapped. Rain-wrapped means it's embedded in rain. You just cannot see it. Rain-wrapped tornadoes in the southern part of the country is very common. Here's a look, Dan, from outside the Fox 4 studios. And you got to remember now, the sun should be out here. This is not a nighttime scene here. This is what you're looking at. It is dark out there, and no doubt about it, need to be taking cover immediately in Dallas County. A tornado warning remains in effect until 7:30, and Dan, the Tarrant County tornado warning expires in about 3 minutes, officially at 6:45. Hail, no doubt about a major problem here, Dan.
All right, the latest information just off the weather wire here. Collin County now under a severe thunderstorm warning until 7:45. But we're not talking about a run-of-the-mill thunderstorm here. We're talking about one capable of producing golf ball-sized hail and destructive winds in excess of 70 miles an hour. This storm was located 9 miles southwest of Plano, or right near Carrollton, moving northeast at 40 miles an hour. Plano and Frisco, you're in the path of that storm by 6:50. Parker, Allen, Murphy, and Prosper, 6:55. Fairview and McKinney, 7 p.m. Lucas and Lowry Crossing, 7:05. This is a storm that's had a history of producing destructive winds and large damaging hail, and it is going to be heading now through Collin County, and that's why we've got a warning up there.
And Dan, we've also had reports of power lines down, and gosh, with power lines down, you do not want to be venturing outside. Of course, you don't want to be venturing outside anyway. With the large hail, the strong winds, a tornado warning in effect, and a lot of intense lightning going on out there as these storms continue to march very quickly towards the east.
Yeah, there's the shot right now, the vantage point, and we continue to kind of pan back and forth at this line of storms as they push in from the west here. Let's momentarily go back to Fox 4 and Doppler radar here, and I'll show you the intense line of storms as it's moving through far eastern Denton County, extending from Pilot Point down through the Louisville area and into the Irving area, and it's moving into western Collin County as we speak. Winds in excess of 70 miles an hour and up to golf ball-sized hail is possible as this line of storms moves into Collin County. Dallas County, you're still under a tornado warning right now, and the tornadic circulation has weakened a bit, but we are still detecting rotation with this storm, and that means a tornado could form with very little warning in Dallas County, and it looks like right now that the most conducive part of the storm for producing that tornado would be right in the downtown Dallas area, perhaps as far north as Park Cities.
New information, Dan. Rotation now moving east at about 40 miles per hour. We have some strong signatures of some rotation, possibly in the Dallas, Richardson, Saxe area. And Dan, our web folks want to remind us that they could chat live with us right now at myfoxdfw.com to tell us what is happening in their neighborhood. So if you want to chat and tell us what you're experiencing right now, go to myfoxdfw.com and tell us what you're seeing.
All right, here's a live look right now. Boy, there was just a powerful flash from a lightning bolt there. Line of fierce thunderstorms continues to push it through the Metroplex in an easterly direction, sometimes northeast at 40 miles an hour. Destructive winds in excess of 70 miles an hour possible. And also a tornado literally could form at any moment here. We've had strong rotation detected within these storms, and we've had at least perhaps a couple of touchdowns in Tarrant County as this line of storms came barreling through there. We've also had a report of a roof off of a grocery store a little bit earlier in Tarrant County. The location of that, I believe, was 121 and Beach. 121 and Beach is where we got that report. We're also thinking right now, I'm looking at the chat session here, looks like impressive reflectivity noted near Farmers Branch, which could indicate up to softball-sized hail possible. We've had a report now of a tennis ball-sized hail. That was 6:34 p.m. That was at DFW Airport. And now Hamilton County. Hamilton County, you are under a tornado warning.
Dan, here's some new information in Haltom City. Haltom City. Dennis Barr, who's monitoring the ham radio operators, is now telling me that semi-trailers are piled up. Haltom City, semi-trailers are piled up about 100 yards south of 121. So we don't know what that's all about just yet, but we are getting reports of semi-trailers piled up in the Haltom City area about 100 yards south of 121. Obviously some very strong winds, if not a tornado.
That's right. It's a rapidly developing situation here, Ron. We've had reports of up to baseball-sized hail. Obviously, there's been some high winds, either from a tornado or from the severe thunderstorms themselves to do the kind of damage that we're hearing reports of. This line of intense thunderstorms continues to move east, sometimes in a northeasterly fashion. at about 40 miles per hour. And we've also got a tornado warning, the latest tornado warning for Hamilton County that was just issued moments ago. So tornado warnings now for Dallas County and for Hamilton County. It appears like Tarrant County now, you are at least temporarily in the clear, as the thunderstorm that did produce apparently maybe a couple of tornadoes there has now pushed east into Dallas County.
And we're checking into that, Dan. Possible semi-trailers piled up 100 yards south of 121 in the Haltom City area. We are presently checking that out. A tornado warning remains in effect for Tarrant County, or excuse me, for Dallas County until 7:30. The one for Tarrant County has now expired. And Dan, I believe, look at that inflow, Dan. You can see some of the inflow and some of the heavy rain. Here's some shots. Look at this.
Wow.
This is outside the station here at Fox 4 Studios, downtown Dallas.
Yeah, and these are southeasterly winds that are probably gusting at times to 45 miles an hour. They're feeding moisture right into these storms. And when you see inflow like that, that's that strong, that's an indication of a very powerful thunderstorm that's literally sucking this rich moisture right into it. That's what they feed on. And we've had several reports of this, and now we're seeing this inflow right here in downtown Dallas as this line of storms continues to push through the area.
Very dangerous situation, and people are driving through it like there's not much to it, Dan. But I want to tell you something. When you're under a tornado warning, heavy rain like that, hail coming down, lightning, you need to pull over and just stay put, preferably in a high area, of course, because you got to watch out for flooding. But nevertheless, a very dangerous situation, and it continues as we speak.
All right, if we can, let's go back to Fox 4 and Doppler radar, and let's show folks at home where this storm is. Here's 635 up here to the north. There's the hail core with this storm just butting up to 635 and extending as far south as the Park Cities. And there could be perhaps up to baseball-sized hail falling right in this hail core. Now, you notice these yellow circles here. Those are what we call our shear markers that are indicating rotation within this severe thunderstorm, rotation that has produced perhaps a couple of tornadoes as it moved through Tarrant County. And the dangerous part, or at least one of the most dangerous parts of this storm, is moving right through downtown Dallas and heading in the direction of East Dallas, as we said.
Okay, Dan, we're looking at Interstate 635 in Montfort. Obviously, people are taking cover underneath an overpass because of the hail. And we have warned many, many times that during a tornado warning, this is something you do not want to do. But nevertheless, with the hail coming down, these people are trying to seek shelter. Dan, we just had some reports of 1/2 inch hail now at Lovers Lane and Central Expressway.
Yeah, well, at least those folks are pulled over on the actual shoulder itself. Traffic is getting by there, but you're absolutely right. A highway overpass is not a safe location to be during a tornado warning. Now, at least up in that direction, 635, that's more or less the hail-producing part of the severe thunderstorm. It's farther south as you head into Dallas itself that we're seeing the stronger circulation and the more likely location that we're going to see another tornado, if we do see one, develop.
Very dangerous situation here, Dan. I could understand what the people are thinking because they want to protect themselves and the automobiles from the hail, but when you're under a tornado warning, you do not want to be under an overpass like this. Dan, let's go to Clarice Tinsley, who's outside the Fox 4 studios. Clarice, hopefully you're taking cover out there.
Yeah, I've got a canopy that's above me. We can see the lightning that's flashing right now. Phil Fleming's going to give us a look at the conditions downtown. You can see the DART train going through. Take a look at the rain, the water that's just ponding on Griffin Street. This is Griffin in front of our station. Very heavy rain right now, but just a few minutes ago, guys, a really, really strong front blew through right past our station. Very, very heavy wind. It's really kind of trailed down just a little bit now, but we can hear thunder off in the distance. I'm not hearing any weather sirens right now, but we are seeing lightning flash, not seeing any hail in this location, which is 400 North Griffin. But again, you can see the wind is just blowing this rain, and we've got light traffic here for this time of day, but take a look at the water that's just being pushed by this rain in downtown Dallas.
Yeah, Clarissa, it looks like you're probably getting rain in excess of 2, maybe up to 3 inches per hour. Kind of hard to say, but nevertheless, obviously, you could tell that the water is up to curve deep out there, and no doubt about it, some minor flooding going down right outside the station. Here's some video shot earlier outside the station of some videotape, and hail.
ago. We've been working at a feverish pace here to get back on the air ever since that happened, roughly about 25 minutes ago. And here we are back on the air, although you still may see a few technical difficulties like that. Let me go ahead and get right to it and show you Fox 4 and Doppler radar. This is still a dangerous weather situation that continues to unfold across North Texas. We've got tornado warnings in effect for Dallas County until 7:30, so another 5 minutes. Rockwall County until 7:45, and Kaufman County until 7:45 as well. Those are all tornado warnings. And this is the storm right here. You see all these yellow circles. Those are shear markers denoting some strong circulation within this line of storms. And a hail core now passing right through Rockwall, through the heart of Rockwall County, and we have had reports of up to baseball-sized hail, so it would not surprise me at all if you were getting pounded right now in the Rockwall area by up to baseball-sized hail as this line of storms continues to move eastward at a pretty good clip, probably on the order of about 40 miles per hour. Farther down to the south here, again, we're closely monitoring the signs of circulation from these severe storms. Spotters have already reported damage in northern Dallas County. They've also reported heavy damage around the Haltom City area in Tarrant County. Reports of structural damage, reports of several semi-trailers that were blown over. And so this is still a very dangerous situation. Keep in mind, we're under a tornado watch until midnight tonight, and a high risk of severe weather here continues, especially now east of the Metroplex. Let me go ahead and we'll widen the scope here for you. The highest threat for severe weather will be now, it looks like, basically from roughly I-35 eastward. Western areas don't appear to be as under the gun as they were earlier. Here's the latest information now off the weather wire here. Tornado warning for southern Hunt County now until 8:30. A severe thunderstorm with a history of producing one or possibly more tornadoes was located 20 miles west of Quinlan. Here's Quinlan right here in southern Hunt County, and this tornado moving northeast at 35 miles per hour. It'll be near Quinlan and Caddo Mills by 8 o'clock, Greenville and West Tawakoni by 8:15, Lone Oak by 8:25, and Campbell by 8:30. You want to take cover on the lowest floor of your home, in an interior closet or a bathroom. Use blankets or some heavy pillows if you've got them to put as a cover on your head. And remember, mobile homes not a safe shelter from a tornado. So if you're living out here, especially in the southeastern part of Hunt County, around the Lake Tawakoni area, and you're in a mobile home, you want to evacuate that mobile home for a safe shelter, a sturdy building nearby, or perhaps you've got a designated storm shelter for your mobile home park. But to repeat, tornado warning now has been issued for southern Hunt County until 8 o'clock, and that's for the storm that I've zoomed into. It is moving northeast at 35 miles an hour, and it has a history of producing tornadoes here. Perhaps there could have been one in Dallas County. There may have been one as well in Tarrant County around the Haltom City area, where we have heard reports of some heavy damage, and we've had that confirmed by storm spotters as well. Quinlan, Caddo Mills, you're in the direct path of this storm at 8 o'clock, so that's about a half an hour from now. Greenville and West Tawakoni by 8:15, Lone Oak 8:25 and 8:30. In fact, tornado warnings still continue for the next 15 minutes for Rockwall County and also for Kaufman County. Let's go in for an even closer look now at this potentially tornadic thunderstorm. I'll stop the laps here for you. We'll put on, there's I-30 right there, and here is the State Highway 205 running south from Rockwall in the direction of Terrell. And up to the east here, we've got Highway 276 as well. There's the hail core of the storm, Roy City, East Rockwall, getting ready to move towards the Munson area here. You're going to be slammed by some very large hail, probably at least golf ball size, perhaps even larger than that, maybe up to baseball-sized hail, as this storm continues to generally move into an east-northeasterly direction. Remote 4 here, what we're showing is the view from Haltom City at what appears to be a yard where these tractor trailers were kept. We've got the Sky 4 pictures. Well, I'm looking at that damage in one monitor here. But boy, these tractor trailers piled up about 8 or 10 high, it appears like. Now you're looking again, you're still looking at Fox 4 Doppler radar, but I'm looking at tornado warning again. If you're just joining us, we were knocked off the air for about 25 to 30 minutes because we still continue to have some technical difficulties here, but we've got to stay with us. We've got engineers that are working feverishly to keep us up on the air here. And you can see this very intense line of storms that continues to move through Rockwall County, and it will be moving into, it looks like, southwestern and southern sections of Hunt County literally in the next few minutes here. Large hail, damaging winds in excess of 70 miles an hour, and the potential of tornadoes as this storm continues to push off to the east. Now you're looking at a shot here. That's Haltom City, and this is where we've had some pretty heavy damage, some roof damage to some structures. We've had some reports of several, it looks like dozens of tractor trailers that were literally knocked over and in some cases piled up 8 to 10 high. We have not had any confirmed reports of whether or not that damage was caused by a tornado or if it was caused by very, very strong winds. There you see some of those trailers that have been knocked over on their sides there out in Haltom City. Also had a report of baseball-sized hail at the National Weather Service office. That's at 121 in Beach. And boy, there you can see some of those trailers that are piled up 5, 6 high, it looks like, from that vantage point. Some of them there that have been totally destroyed. Actually, those look like more like RVs to me. There may be RVs and some tractor trailers out there, and part of what looks like a warehouse there where the actual metal has been ripped away. You're also looking at damage that continues. Looks like the path continues here. Again, another kind of industrial complex here. I'm not sure what type of business this is, but it's obvious that it has sustained some heavy damage there as well. Most noticeably up on the roof there, where the roof has actually been peeled away by these very strong winds. Don't know if that was a tornado, but there was a tornado warning in effect. We were showing that on Doppler radar as it was approaching Haltom City and moving through that area. And you can see a lot of folks there in cars, onlookers, basically surveying the damage. And it looks like some emergency vehicles down there as well. And that appears to be a huge piece of debris up in the top of the trees there. That's a billboard, it looks like. Actually, that's a billboard that's been basically destroyed by those very high winds. Now that we can actually see that, that moved through the Haltom City area earlier this evening when they were under a tornado warning. And this very well could have been a tornado that caused the damage here in this part of Tarrant County, just to the northeast of Fort Worth. Emergency vehicles there on the scene. Haven't heard of any reports of any injuries from this part of Tarrant County, but obviously a lot of damage. And there you can see some homeowners there surveying some of that damage. Let's get back, if we can, to Fox 4 and Doppler radar, because we still have some very dangerous storms moving east of the Metroplex, and they continue to pack quite a punch. Tornado warnings continue for Hunt County, for Rockwall County, and for Kaufman County. The tornado warning for Dallas County has now just officially expired. There you can see some of those trees that have been literally snapped off the tops of them, and power line that's been snapped off. Power lines down in this particular neighborhood here. This is Haltom City, if you're just joining us here. Some pretty heavy damage we've been showing you here at what appeared to have been kind of an industrial complex where trailers and RVs were either thrown around or actually blown on top of one another. The actual tornado or the straight lines themselves, straight line winds, continue to blow through this neighborhood here. It almost appears like they're probably, this is probably pretty good indication that there was indeed a tornado that touched down here and did quite a bit of heavy damage in the Haltom City area. Do we have the capability here to momentarily go back to Fox 4 and Doppler radar, if we can, to show these storms? You're continuing to look at some pretty heavy damage here out in Haltom City. This potentially tornadic thunderstorm, we have had no confirmed reports in the last few minutes from storm spotters, but this has had a history of producing very strong circulation and perhaps one or more tornadoes as it's moved right through the Metroplex. Here's the line of them now. It's clusters of strong storms up around the Sherman-Denison area. Very intense activity here in eastern Collin County, Rockwall County, northwestern Kaufman County, and then some more very intense storms continuing down to our southwest. Let's go down and show you these momentarily here. We had a tornado warning earlier in Hamilton County with this cell. It's now moving east of there in the Gatesville area. This storm here now moving east of Meridian with large hail and no doubt some damaging wind gusts in excess of 60 or perhaps 70 miles per hour. On up through Itasca, just some strong thunderstorm activity here. And that's the same story as you continue into eastern Ellis County. But as we go just a little farther to the north and east here, this is where the most intense activity is right now. All of these yellow circles you are seeing here are what we call the shear markers here, denoting very strong rotation within these thunderstorms as they continue to move generally in an east-northeasterly direction. There's the hail core of the storm, now located and pushing through northeastern Rockwall County. In fact, I can give you a live sweep right now with Fox 4 and Doppler radar, and you can see part of that thunderstorm now has actually moved into Hunt County. Back to the radar here, and you can see again there's definite signs of rotation within this line of severe storms. You need to assume that literally at any moment we could see a tornado produced by this line of storms as it continues to move in an east to northeasterly fashion. The latest warning we got out was for southern Hunt County. That tornado warning until 8:30. At 7:24, a severe thunderstorm with a history of producing one or more tornadoes in Dallas and Tarrant counties was 20 miles west of Quinlan or near Rockwall, moving northeast to 35. Well, obviously that was at 7:24. This storm now has moved into eastern Rockwall County, and it looks like a strong circulation now right around the Munson area here. And you folks in Munson up to Roy City getting hit by some very large hail as we speak. This storm has had a history of producing up to baseball-sized hail, and I wouldn't be surprised at all if we're seeing hail that large with this storm as it continues to move off to the east. I'll go in for a little closer look here just to give you a little orientation here. We'll stop the laps here momentarily. We'll put down some roads here. Here's I-30 running from Rockwall through Roy City up in the direction of Caddo Mills. Down here to the south, Highway 80. And this is basically the borderline here. Caddo Mills down to the Terrell area here. That's where the most intense activity is, stretching north to south between Caddo Mills and Terrell. And this line of severe storms continues to push east. We've got tornado warnings that continue for another about 7-8 minutes for Kaufman County and for Rockwall County, and the tornado warning for Hunt County, for southern Hunt County, until 8:30 this evening. Clarice, you've been monitoring the storms along with us here, and do you have any information for us? You have to bear with us here. We were knocked momentarily off the air a little bit earlier this evening. We're obviously back up on the air right now, and you're looking now at damage from Haltom City in Tarrant County. This is just northeast of Fort Worth, where we've obviously sustained some heavy damage there. Scott Sayers, I believe Scott Wallace flying live in Sky 4. Scott, looks like this area got hit pretty hard. All right, Scott Wallace flying over, giving us these bird's eye pictures here of the Haltom City area, where you're looking at some very heavy damage here on the ground. Not sure if we've had any reports of any injuries from Haltom City, but certainly they did bear the brunt of this storm as it rolled out of Fort Worth earlier this evening. and headed right through the Haltom City area with some very high winds. And there could have been a tornado here as well. Ron Jackson's been keeping an eye on the activity itself. And Ron, been a pretty active evening for us as well here.
Yeah, Dan, and it looks like it's probably going to continue at least for a while east of the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And just listening to some of these storm spotters, Johnny Davis running the Dallas Sky Warning, it appears that, as of right now, it appears that Dallas, in general, may have stayed the bullet here, but obviously, you folks in Tarrant County, totally different. Reports of a possible tornado in that area, straight line wind damage. We simply do not know. Wasn't sure right now until the National Weather Service employees get out there and make a deciding factor on that, and that probably won't be until tomorrow or on Sunday. Dan?
Ron, I'm told that that is the Minyard's grocery store in Haltom City. Is this what we're looking at currently right now? Can anybody confirm that? Is that the Minyard's there? Yes, that is the Minyard's there in Haltom City, and boy, it has been heavily, heavily damaged by an apparent tornado that came through here after it rolled through Fort Worth. And again, you're looking live at pictures from Sky 4, and don't know exactly what that is on the ground, but a very large piece of debris there as well that Scott was kind of zooming into. And now we pan above, you can see trees that have literally been snapped off about halfway up the trunk. May have been what appeared to have been down there a car that was overturned. There were several trailers and RVs that we were showing earlier that had been overturned, but what you're looking at right now, and we're zooming into the sign there, and sure enough, that is the Minyard store there in Haltom City. It's obviously, we got yellow tape there in front. It has sustained heavy damage from an apparent tornado that came through there just a little bit earlier this evening. We had reports from that same storm of baseball-sized hail at the National Weather Service office, which is right at Loop 820 and Beach Street. And now as Sky 4 continues to kind of pan off in the distance there, you can see some very slow-moving traffic. Now, there are no severe storms in the Haltom City area as we speak, but those severe storms continue to move off to the east.
All right, Dan, here's some new information. The National Weather Service has now put Hill County under a severe thunderstorm warning until 8:45 this evening.
So Hill County under a severe thunderstorm warning now until 8:45. Severe thunderstorm capable of producing golf ball-sized hail and destructive winds in excess of 70 miles an hour. This storm was located 8 miles southwest of Whitney, or about 11 miles northeast of Clifton, moving northeast at 40 miles an hour. So you folks down there in Hill County, batten down the hatches as well. Again, you continue to look at damage as we are flying above Haltom City with Sky 4. There's a billboard that's been completely knocked down. We showed you the Minyard's grocery store that has sustained very heavy damage. We also showed what appeared to be an industrial complex where several trailers and RVs had been literally piled up like toys on top of one another by the very high winds, perhaps with that tornado as it tracked through there. Looks like there's some sheet metal that's been blown on top of this building here in Haltom City. I don't know if that's a business. Looks like a business to me. But this is the site of a lot of activity right now, a lot of emergency vehicles on site here in Haltom City with a very strong storm that has been, that did produce an apparent tornado earlier this evening in Tarrant County. Tornado warnings continue now for Rockwall County and for Kaufman County for just another couple of minutes, although the brunt of those storms now are moving eastward into Hunt County and into Kaufman County. And those are the two areas, along with Hill County, that I'm most concerned about right now are southern Hunt County down into Kaufman County, where Doppler radar is currently showing still some pretty strong rotation. And notice up here to the north, this is the hail core here with this storm. located just east of Roy City and just east of Munson here in southwestern Hunt County. And look at another strong circulation here around the Terrell area. You folks really need to be taking cover right now. Lowest floor available, away from exterior walls or windows, in a closet or in a bathroom. If you have time to grab some sheets or heavy blankets to put over your head. This storm moving eastbound at about 40 miles per hour. And even if we don't see a tornado here, this storm capable of producing destructive winds in excess of 70 miles per hour and at least golf ball sized hail.
And Dan, while you are going to take a look at more weather conditions, Clarice Tinsley here, we're going to continue our coverage of the very severe weather that has blown through our area in Dallas-Fort Worth. Taking a look at the video from Haltom City, the level of damage is extensive, and Sky 4 is showing us scenes of billboards that have been blown off of their post. We're taking a look at sheet metal that's on top of some buildings. We saw an RV park and just extensive damage there. Area where 18-wheelers were stored, a warehouse, and they're just crumpled on top of each other. You can see, we've got video right now. You're taking a look at what may be an office park. You can just see parts of the insulation and parts of the building that have just been blown off. Lots of emergency vehicles all around the area. Again, you're looking live at pictures at Haltom City. Take a look at this damage. Just this side of that office building has just been ripped off by the winds that passed through just an hour, maybe an hour and a half ago. Again, live pictures from Haltom City in Tarrant County. Haltom City apparently bore the brunt of the storm as a severe line of storms moved through just after 6 o'clock tonight. Dan Henry joins us with new information. What do you have, Dan?
Yeah, Clarice, just over the wire here, tornado warning issued for eastern Rockwall County until 8 p.m. A severe thunderstorm with a history of producing one or more tornadoes was near Roy City, or about 7 miles east of Rockwall, moving northeast at 35 miles per hour. McClendon Chisholm, you are one of the locations in the path of this potential tornado as it continues to move northeast at 35 miles per hour. And you're taking a look now at damage here in the Haltom City area. Just to recap, we've got tornado warnings that are in effect now for eastern Rockwall County until 8 p.m. Also for Hunt County, southern Hunt County, until 8:30 p.m. We've got a severe thunderstorm warning in effect as well for Hill County. And you folks in Kaufman County as well are under the gun. That tornado warning just expired as of 7:45, but that is still a pretty formidable line of storms moving through Kaufman County. Let me go ahead and pan up the line of the storms here to show you what's going on. Again, Roy City here, that was the location of the strong circulation, potentially a tornado, moving northeastward. And this storm won't be in this area very long. That's extreme northeastern Rockwall County, and it's going to be moving into, in fact, currently moving into Hunt County. So Hunt County here, you're really under the gun, as well as eastern Rockwall County, and down here to the south as well in Kaufman County, anywhere from Terrell to Munson to Quinlan to Roy City, up to Caddo Mills, and then Lone Oak, Point, Lake Tawakoni, McCoy, and Elmo. You all need to be taking cover immediately. That's the lowest floor available, away from exterior walls or windows. If you've got a closet or a bathroom in the interior part of your home, that is generally one of the best places to go. If you're in a mobile home, and if you're already seeing rain at your vicinity, it's too late to evacuate your mobile home. But if you're further away, off to the east of these storms, and you can get to a sturdy shelter that's close by all means, do so. And if you're in a several-story high building and you can get to the lowest floor available, let's say an apartment building, that's your safest bet. Or let's say an interior central stairwell, especially if it's a concrete stairwell, that generally happens to be a pretty safe place to be as well. Here's the wide view right now. You can see pretty intense thunderstorms stretching from Hunt County into eastern Rockwall County and Kaufman County, and then they stretch back to the southwest through Hillsborough and on to the west of Waco. We're all under a tornado watch until midnight tonight.
And right now, Dan, we're going to toss to Scott Wallace, who's live in Sky 4. These pictures of the damage in Haltom City, Scott, are just devastating. You're looking live
Clarice,
from Sky 4.
we're over Haltom City right now, just on the south side of 121 and just west of East Loop 820. And this industrial district was hit very hard. In fact, you could see the line that the storm took. It went from, so it looks like it came from the west and kind of came northeastbound, roughly following 121, and just south of that, heavy damage to one neighborhood there between Carson and Beach Street, and then other heavy damage along the Trinity River back off towards the East Loop. And that's what we're showing you over here. No reports of any damage, but I can tell you that the Haltom City Fire Department has their hands full right now because they're getting mutual aid from Fort Worth and several surrounding departments. Police department too. They've had to block off a lot of these neighborhoods because they can't get into it to survey the damage, and that's their first priority, to make sure that anybody hurt gets attention very quickly.
You showed us a shot just a few minutes ago. 2 18-wheelers, the trailers were on the ground, and they were facing each other, or they were like side by side, just blown down because of the extent of that wind. And now you're showing us a truck that's in the middle of a grassy median there.
Yeah, Clarice, we've seen scenes like this all over Haltom City where cars and trucks have skidded off the road in ditches and things like that. Traffic is backed up very heavily, 121 coming from Haltom City over into Fort Worth. And the reason being is that a lot of the emergency vehicles have had to block some of the lanes to clear that debris off. I've seen a lot of billboards, other signs that have taken hits, and that some of that debris has ended up here on the freeway here as you head into Fort Worth. So it's caused very hazardous driving for people coming to the area, as well as the people who live over in this part of Haltom City.
And emergency crews certainly have their hands full in Haltom City, but does it appear that they are able to get where they need to go to be able to help people or start clearing this debris or keeping people away?
Well, Clarice, they have blocked off that one neighborhood about Carson or so, just on the north side of 121. Heavy damage in that area, and they have set up a perimeter around it to try to keep people out so that they can go through house to house, and then they're trying to evaluate. Obviously, their first priority is to save human life, and then the second one is to preserve the property. So right now, they're still in that mode of making sure that there's no injuries in there, that nobody is hurt, that they haven't gotten to yet. So that's where they are. Fort Worth Fire Department, Police Department helping out, as well as other surrounding communities. But we would advise people, don't try to drive over 121 or this part of Haltom City for the next several hours, because there's a lot of emergency vehicles on the roads, and there's a lot of debris on the roads right now, so it makes it very difficult for people to get around. It's a huge traffic jam at this time. Joyce?
Yeah, you talked about that one area, the north side, the Carson area. Have you seen any presence of EMS going from that area or from other areas in Haltom City, taking people who are perhaps injured to hospitals? We don't have any word at this point on the extent of injuries in Haltom City or throughout the area, but Sky 4 is giving us a live look at the very extensive damage that Haltom City experienced tonight when that severe line of thunderstorms literally blew through. We've seen billboards that have just been torn off their posts, extensive damage to office buildings, 18-wheelers just tossed around like they were toothpicks, sides of office buildings literally ripped off. We saw heavy, heavy damage to the Minyards grocery store that is in Haltom City, and there are, of course, reports of power lines that are down throughout that area.
And Baron James here along with Clarice, and Scott mentioned that this storm seemed to pass right along I-121 west of East Loop 820. We want to go to Dan Henry again in the 4-1 Weather Center to update us on where the storm is moving right now. Dan?
Yeah, Baron, this storm, National Weather Service meteorologists as well as spotters out in the field are closely taking a look, especially in the vicinity here of Quinlan. Storm spotters and Doppler radar observe strong rotation near Quinlan. We're about 14 miles northeast of Terrell. And this circulation, it's this part of the storm that we could see a tornado develop literally at any time. This storm is moving northeast at 35 miles per hour. So anywhere from Quinlan to all around the Lake Tawakoni area, you need to take cover immediately because a tornado could form at any time here. And in addition to the tornado threat, very large hail, especially where you're seeing these purple colors here. And we could be seeing hail in excess of golf ball size and damaging winds in excess of 70 miles an hour possible as this storm continues to move northeast at 35 miles an hour. West Tawakoni, 8 p.m. Greenville, 8:05 p.m. You're up to the north here, the northern section of this storm. Lone Oak, 8:10, and Campbell and Nalenville by 8:15. But this is the part of the storm right here that I'm most concerned about, where we're seeing all our shear markers here indicating very strong rotation within this storm. This has been a long-lived storm with a history of producing perhaps one or more tornadoes as it moved across Rockwall County and Dallas County and Tarrant County, and it continues to move eastward. And now we've got tornado warnings in effect for Hunt County through 8:30, Kaufman County through 8:30, and Rockwall County, your tornado warning will expire in about 5 minutes from now.
And Dan, we could only hope that anybody on Lake Tawakoni is now well off the lake, because no doubt about it, these storms are staying just as strong as they have been throughout the evening hours as they continue to march towards the east-northeast. Very strong, and as you pointed out, definitely a tornado threat here with large hail, possibly up to baseball size, damaging straight-line winds, very heavy rain, and of course we don't want to forget the lightning. But nevertheless, this storm is holding as strong as it is now as it was earlier this evening.
At West Tawakoni in the path of that, 7:58, just a couple minutes from now, and then it should be moving over Lake Tawakoni right around 8:02. And again, no confirmed reports of a tornado with this storm, although it has a history of producing one or possibly more tornadoes as it moved through the Metroplex. It continues to exhibit very strong rotation, and storm spotters continue to keep a very close eye on it as well. There you see some of the large hail falling here in Hunt County between Greenville and Quinlan. Here is I-30 right here, and off here to the northeast, that's 69, US 69, and we're seeing perhaps up to golf ball sized hail with this storm, and also some hail here just to the west and southwest of Lake Tawakoni in far northern Kaufman County. And as you head on down the line here, you can see this intense line of storms continues from Terrell down through Rosser. Kaufman County is under a severe thunderstorm warning, penny-sized hail and damaging winds in excess of 60 miles an hour possible as you move from the Terrell area into Kaufman and down towards Rosser.
Dan, one interesting thing, so far from the damage that we have seen, here's some video of it right now. It appears, as of right now anyway, the worst of the damage was in Tarrant County, perhaps around the Haltom City area, which you could obviously see something did happen here. Now, we don't know 100% sure if it was a tornado. We're not sure if it was straight line winds. Straight line winds could easily exceed over 100 miles per hour. Until the National Weather Service gets out and surveys that, we just simply will not know until probably Saturday or Sunday at the latest. One other interesting thing, Dan, listening to the ham radio operators in Dallas County, it appears right now that Dallas County saw very little damage with this storm. So Dallas County actually, if you want to say lucked out a little bit, they actually did as compared to the damage in Tarrant County, which was definitely a different story.
And that goes to the unpredictable nature of these storms. I mean, we can see the strong rotation with these storms as they move eastward, but when exactly they'll produce a tornado is really up to the storm itself. And obviously around the Haltom City area is where we saw potential tornado touchdown. That storm continued to show strong rotation as it moved right through the Mid-Cities area towards the southern end of DFW Airport. And then it seemed like the circulation kind of fell apart a little bit as it moved through Dallas County. But again, now we're seeing signs of some pretty strong rotation as it's moved east of the Metroplex now. And that appears to be the highest threat now for severe weather is just east of the Dallas-Fort Worth area, although we've been given no indication that they're going to cancel that tornado watch early. We're still all under a tornado watch until midnight tonight. Clarice and Barron?
And we've got some video. Barron and I are going to talk about what Texas Motor Speedway looked like before, during, and after that severe line of thunderstorms blew through. You can see the sense of urgency right now the pit crews taking those high-priced performance cars into shelter, people also seeking shelter. Thousands of people there for the big exciting race, Barron, and they were seeing some activity, and then the weather blew in.
Absolutely, Clarice. This was around about 5:45, 5:50 when our Brandon Todd was out there as well, and at that moment they were starting to see cloud-to-ground lightning. The wind was starting to pick up a little bit, but very little rain, as you can see from these pictures, as people made their way from literally their RVs and tents that they had hunkered down to get to a more stable place around the TMS Speedway there.
And certainly now you can see that the front was moving in. Obviously the people there at TMS could see it too. Our reporter Brandon Todd told us that earlier in the day, TMS officials, there comes that rain, very, very heavy torrential ponding. The officials at TMS had passed out flyers to everybody at TMS to let them know exactly what they needed to do if and when severe weather struck. So they were informed, they knew where they needed to go, they knew how to take shelter, how to take cover, how to keep themselves safe, and apparently that is what they did. We have not gotten a report of any injuries at TMS. We will be, of course, working on that for you, but it was very serious for a while there, but you can see people just waited it out in their vehicles, in their RVs, and under that shelter at TMS.
And in fact, I understand from our assignments desk that they were spared the brunt of the storm, it passing about 10 miles away from TMS, according to our assignments desk. So scared, of course, out there, but spared the brunt of the storm.
Gotta be prepared.
Absolutely. Let's go back now to Dan in the 4-1 Weather Center.